Welcome, everybody, to a Healthy Dose podcast. I am 8.5 months pregnant. We are 37.5 weeks, feeling good, moving good. Everything appears to be going well. So now we're just kind of in a spot where we're waiting for baby. And I wanted to share an observation with you that I've made over the past couple of weeks as we've had to go to the doctor. Now we're going every week. When we hit the 36-week mark, you start going every week. But at about 28 weeks, if you've been pregnant recently, you know this, they asked me to start doing what they call a kick count. And for a kick count, basically, we pick an hour a day where the baby's active, and I have to count 10 distinct movements that I can feel her moving around in there. And they use that then as a sign of vitality within the pregnancy. So if there's a day that, I don't know, we only count 8, or if there's a day where I don't feel anything, I'm supposed to call them and let them know, and we're supposed to go in and get checked. So every single visit since that 28-week mark, the first question each doctor, and there's 3 at the practice that I go to, the very first question they ask me before they barely step into the room, and they ask me, how's the baby moving? And we've been very fortunate where we can say, great, she's moving fine. She's active most in the morning, sometimes a little bit at night. She moves during the day. Can feel it. We're great. And then they proceed with the rest of the exam. For me as a PT and as a mom, like, it's the most amazing thing in the whole world that there's a person inside of me who can move and react to stuff and hear and has senses, and it's completely incredible. But what's interesting to me, again, as a PT, is what appears to be the absolute most important question that our doctor asks about us before we're born is, how are they moving? How is he or she moving? And I would imagine that after she's born, and because I know a little bit about pediatric PT, that within those first 18 months, we look for certain milestones, right? Can they roll? Can they push up? Can they crawl? Can they pull themselves up? Do they start to what do we call it? When they walk on but they use the furniture, cruise, right? We're supposed to hit these certain motor milestones by certain ages, and reflexes integrate, and it's a complicated and fascinating process. So usually for the first 2 years, a pediatrician is going to ask, are you hitting these motor milestones? Maybe, I don't know. By about 4 or 5 years old, they're going to ask, okay, is she riding a bike yet? Or can she skip, right? But at 10 years old, I'm not so sure that they ask about any of those motor milestones anymore. And by 15 or 17 years old, I'm certain that they don't ask about any motor patterns or movements. I don't remember ever being asked that when I was a teenager. And especially now as an adult in my 30s, my doctor has never asked me, aside from the exercise, what my motor patterns look like, what my daily movement looks like. They certainly don't ask, do you move significantly 10 times in an hour every single day? Definitely don't ask that. So that question, what is the absolute, apparently, most important question to ask about a person's movement before they're born, isn't so significant once we hit certain ages. But could you imagine if it was? Could you imagine that if every physical you ever had, your doctor made you stand up from the floor without using your hands, your doctor made you crawl in the hallway, your doctor had you pull yourself up using a table or a chair, or do a push-up from the floor, or had you roll from side to side, or from your belly to your back? If the doctor checked, how do you climb stairs? What's it look like? What do your motor patterns look like? Could you do that stuff now? Could you get up and down off the floor? Could you crawl up and down a hallway? Because there was a point in your life where you could, and there was a point in your life where it was absolutely important that you could do those things. And I guess that's what we do as physical therapists. We just see it as a reactive thing as opposed to being proactive about it, which is part of what we're doing right here, right now. Right? So if your doctor asks you to move significantly 10 times in an hour, and of course that looks different in a fetus than it does in a 30-year-old, but significantly move 10 times in an hour every single day, would you be able to pass? I know most people who either work desk jobs or are retired would say no. The most significant movement they do in an hour is they go up to go to the bathroom. And like, that's concerning. It just is as a society. So in my experience, if everybody had that mentality of I should move significantly for at least an hour every single day in positions that we were born to move in, like squatting, lunging, bending, twisting, climbing, pushing, pulling, walking, running, jumping, we would see a dramatic decrease in orthopedic conditions, in pain-related conditions, and in needs for surgery. So that's kind of my soapbox. As I've learned throughout this pregnancy, how important movement is before we're born, and I see it in my career, how important movement is after we're born and throughout our lives. So we encourage the mission of movement, and I encourage everybody to move in whatever capacity they are able to. I appreciate you. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Keep getting better every day. Drink a lot of water, sleep a lot, eat good food, and keep moving.